Kelly.
Developing tonight, new concerns the IRS may have promised an atheist organization that it will now aggressively target churches. The tax agency just signing a secret settlement agreement with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, which accused the IRS of being too soft on churches when it comes to allegedly political speech. The IRS refuses to disclose what's in that agreement. Joining me now, J. Christian Adams, who's a former Justice Department attorney and legal editor of PJ Media. Chris, good to see you. And so basically this atheist group said, why should churches have tax-exempt status if they're going to be playing politics from the pulpit? And the IRS said, yeah, looks like they said, we agree, and the law doesn't allow that, and we're going to go after them more aggressively. Do I have it right?
You pretty much do, Megan, but what most Americans don't realize is that there's this very anti-religious agenda going on, and this cooperation with the IRS and the Freedom from Religion Foundation is part of it. What they're really trying to do, Megan, is rebrand theology as politics. And as much as some folks don't like it, issues like abortion, gay marriage, these are theological issues. And these are issues that the Catholic Church, churches around the country take theological stances on. But this organization, this atheist organization, doesn't want churches talking about this and urging action from the pulpit. So here comes the IRS. And the IRS is going to target, as part of a stepped-up investigative tactic, churches, I'm sure with the cooperation of the Freedom from Religion Foundation. It's just part of this militant anti-religious organization's broader agenda.
They say it's not fair because they say other tax-exempt organizations aren't allowed to preach politics, and so why should a church be allowed to do it? Apparently the law says these churches are not allowed to engage in political campaign activity. They can push issues, but they can't explicitly endorse candidates or push political campaigns. And these preachers, in some instances, Chris, have been trying to violate that provision to sort of taunt the IRS into, you know, I dare you to come after me. We have video of some of them saying, hey, go vote for Mitt Romney or go vote for whomever because they want to test whether this law is constitutional.
Well, that does happen, and they certainly have a right to speak. The question is whether they have tax-exempt status. But, Megan, understand, groups like the Freedom from Religion Foundation, they're not just after churches for engaging in that sort of behavior. They don't like what churches say about other issues. They don't like what churches say about adoption, about same-sex marriage, about abortion. You can see that at their website what they believe is not just don't endorse Mitt Romney. It's a much broader anti-religious agenda. And they're going to get a receptive audience at this IRS who has a very broad skill set at targeting people on one end of the political spectrum. And you're going to be able to see more of that shortly, I suspect.
What about, I mean, where were they when we heard things like this from Reverend Wright?
We bombed Hiroshima, we bombed Nagasaki, and we nuked far more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon, and we never batted an eye. Because the stuff we have done overseas is now brought right back into our own front yards. America's chickens are coming home to roost.
Is that over the line?
Yeah, some of the folks at the IRS probably sent a donation after hearing that. I mean, look, this is not the sort of thing that that the government ought to be getting involved in. The churches are supposed to be free in this country, whether you like it or not, to speak to theological questions. When government gets involved, bad things happen. Churches lose liberty. And so Reverend Wright's a complete nutcase, but the IRS obviously didn't do anything about it because the IRS has a political point of view. We see this all the time with Lois Lerner. Every time an email comes out, she's telling you what she really thinks, and she's not alone.
Yes, and we saw that yesterday. And what she really thinks is that a lot of Republicans are a bunch of bleep holes. J. Christian Adams, good to see you.
You too, Megan.
We'll leave it on that classy note.